Hello, Tracy in Graham, North Carolina, or should I say howdy neighbor. This is Matthew with freeprescriptionlenses.com in Durham, North Carolina. Thanks to Google, more North Carolinians are finding me, but let's go ahead. I am going to cut some prescription lenses for your Ralph Lauren 7040, color 1081 in the 51 eye size. Hopefully you can see that, but this is a cute little petite women's Ralph Lauren frame. And I am going to cut some prescription lenses to go in here. So let's begin. I'm going to take out your original demo lenses. And of course you are going to receive all the manufacturer's original packaging. Put it into the tracing element of my equipment. And the first thing that's going to happen is this little stylus is going to pop up and trace the shape of the right lens before moving over and tracing the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy a genuine, authentic Ralph Lauren polo frame and you will receive free, clear, single vision prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses. If you have vision insurance or flex dollars and you'd like a really nice pair, my receipts have my federal ID tax number so you can get reimbursed for your purchase. Now, that just tells me I need the little blocks. So I'm going to get those ready. This is a block. This is what's going to attach to your lens while it is cutting. In fact, let me go ahead and put it in your pupillary distance while I'm over here. You are 29 millimeters in both eyes, so that is for your right eye. I'm going to make that at 29 millimeters. And let's go ahead and get your lenses ready and prepped. I'm going to go down to my Marco 101 lensometer. I'm going to spin the axis wheel to 4. I was already on 5, so I didn't have to go far. And your right eye is minus 375, minus 1 1/4 at 4. So, actually, hang on. I got a flashlight. Got a flashlight. Where is it? Here we go. I'm going to turn the power drum to minus 375. Got your right lens ready. I'm going to rotate it until the sphere power. Actually, I want to double check we're zeroed out. We are good. Make sure there's no prism in there. Going to find the optical center. Check your astigmatism correction. That looks good. And I'm going to put 3 dots on your lenses. The third is always hard to see, so let me take this pen, put a little dot there, and let's put an R on there for right. And let's do the same thing for the left. It reads minus 3, minus 175 at 174. I'm going to spin the axis wheel to 174. Put the power drum on minus 3. Minus 3. Put your lens in, rotate it until the sphere power comes in clearly. Find the optical center, check your astigmatism correction, and then put 3 dots on your lenses. And why does that third dot never want to come in? So, at least dark enough for you to see, and then I've already smeared that center one. Let me see if I can get a better pen than this one. Come on, Sharpie. Don't fail me now. Let's go back to this one. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Or peanut oil. I'm going to put an L on here, which stands for not right. Just like me. So let's go down. And actually, let me even change. Can you see that? Can you see that? Yeah, we can. These are dark enough. The reason why I put these 3 dots on here is that's going to help me orient the lens. Now again, this is a block, or as I like to call it, Jenny from the block. But the black side is the sticky side. That little silver button is a magnet that's going to hold it in place while I put it there. Is that right? Is that right? Yes, it is. And that center dot is going to be your optical center. This blue cross is the geometric center of your frame. But this is your pupillary distance, where your OC, the optical center, and there's 2 dots on the opposite side. Make sure I have it oriented in there just perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and hit the button. The arm is going to come down and place the block onto your right lens. And now let's do the same thing for the left. And even though I entered the value of 29 for the right eye, it comes up and automatically pops over for the left. Since you're the equal amount in both eyes, put the block there. Let's get these lined up. That dot goes in the center. And then these get it lined up over here on this side. And again, hit the button. The block comes down and is applied to your lens. Now the actual cutting wheel, this is the edger. This is $40,000. I recommend everyone go out and buy one. Weighs 200 pounds. Put it on your kitchen counter and you won't need me anymore. You can cut your own lenses at home. But the cutting wheel is over here on the far right. It's going to act like a heavy grit sandpaper to grind away your lens material until it's the final size. And because of the smaller blocks, I got to put the smaller chuck in there. So I'm going to pull these off. Set these down. This is what's going to hold the lens in place while it is cutting. And so let me attach this back to the equipment. Come on, you get on there, get on there. Let's pop this on this side. Clean up my debris there. Now let's go ahead and put the right lens in. The magnet's going to hold it in place, and then the first thing I'm going to do is pull up the shape of your lens onto the computer so it knows what it's cutting. And we're going to hit start. The door closes, the clamp shuts, and then 2 calipers are going to come down, as you can see up there at the top, and it's going to trace the shape of the right side of your frame to make sure the lens is large enough to fit in there. It's going to measure a second time. The old carpenter saying measure twice, cut once. But as it goes around, it's also measuring the thickness of the lens to know exactly where to place the bevel so your lens will fit best inside the frame. Where'd my flashlight go? So it is going to drop down onto the cutting wheel. There is water running in the background, but polycarbonate cuts dry where plastic and high index cut wet. And I am cutting it on the soft cycle, which means it cuts a little bit slower, and I'm doing that because of the anti-glare coating. Alright, so your lenses, as I mentioned earlier, are made out of polycarbonate. Polycarb is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. It is also virtually unbreakable. They're bulletproof up to 22 caliber. If it wasn't, could I do that? Could I do this? But it also has both UVA and UVB protection. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin from overexposure, where your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes. The other nice thing about your lenses, I did mention they were polycarb, but they're also aspheric. Aspheric simply means not round. A sphere is completely round. So not only are they thinner, but this front curvature is much flatter than a spherical lens. So it gives you, a spherical lens gives you that ugly cosmetic fishbowl appearance, which you will not get in your lenses. And of course, you upgraded to the anti-glare coating. The frame and lens cost $150. You spent $40 to get the anti-glare coating, and the anti-glare coating is actually 3 features. The first feature is that it eliminates glare. That's why it's called an anti-glare lens. It eliminates glare when driving at night, particularly driving at night in the rain, but from street lights, stoplights, computer screens, overhead fluorescent lights. The second feature, it's a reflection-free lens. That's why it goes by the initials ARC, which stands for anti-reflective coating. This lens in my right lens does not have the coating, so you can see the reflections from the lights above. So when someone's looking at you, they're not looking at their reflection in your glasses. It makes for a much better eye contact. Plus, if anyone ever takes a picture with a flash, you won't see the flash lit up in the lens. You'll see just your eyes. Now, the third feature that I like, the practical side, is that your lens comes with the strongest scratch coating in the business. Because the machine that applies the anti-glare to your lens costs well over $1 million. It takes 24 hours, and what they do is they vaporize 7 layers of the coating onto your lens. It has to dry in between coatings. That's why it takes 24 hours. But because of the time and the expense that the lab has in making this lens, they put the strongest scratch coating on there to protect it, so they don't have to reapply. Little by little, it takes some off as it goes around. Sometimes more, sometimes less with every cycle. Why it does that, I don't know. There's a lot of things in life that I don't know. Let's just put this one at the back of the line until I find out why. And that white substance you see around the edge of your lens, that is called swarf. May the swarf be with you. But that is optical sawdust, if you will, and all that will be washed away in just a moment. And that moment is soon to come. Now your lens is still completely flat, just like a nickel. If I were to take it out of the edger now, it would stand up on its own on the counter. Now it's actually going to drop down and get the safety bevel, which is the V-shaped bevel that's going to hold it inside the bevel of the frame. There's a wheel that has just a slight edge, and it's going to go around and get sharper and sharper. And a lot of that optical debris will be washed off as it does that, and what is left, and again, as you notice, the polycarbonate is cutting dry. Water will spray for the last 20 seconds of the cutting cycle to wash a lot of that debris away. And there's the water on cue. See, that reminds me I need a bath. Now, one last thing it's going to do, you will see an arm or lever come out, and there's a blade that spins very fast. It looks almost like a cutting wheel on a Dremel tool. But now that it's the final size, it's going to just smooth out any rough edges that may be left over on the back surface of the lens, and then move over and do the same thing for the front surface of the lens. So the back is done, and now it's going to do the front to make everything nice and smooth for it to be inserted into your frame. If all goes well, this entire process will take about 15 minutes. But sometimes some retouches have to be made to make sure it's the final size. Now, at the very end, the door will open and it will tell me that your lens is ready. I'm going to get my paper towel ready. I'm going to hit the door to open the chuck. Come on, open. Take your lens out, dry everything off. And let's see, I'm going to actually use my thumbnail to wipe away any optical debris that may be left over that didn't get washed away. And let's see if your lens fits into the frame. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner first, and then using my thumbs press down at the nose, and it does not want to go in. So I'm going to put it back in, and where's my little stylus? Here we go. It's set at 0. I'm going to take it down about 0.15 of a millimeter and hit the retouch button. Now 0.15 is not quite 2 millimeters, and a millimeter, to all my American friends who have no idea, a millimeter is the distance between my thumbnails. I'm going to take 0.15, just over 1, not quite 2/10 of a millimeter off, until it fits into your frame easily. I do not want to force it in there. If I were to force it, that would cause the frame to stretch or possibly even roll. That's when the force applied to your frame causes the bottom of your frame to tilt outward and roll the lens. It shortens the life of your frame, plus gives you an ugly cosmetic appearance. But because I'm not some super huge lab cutting millions of pair of lenses a day, I can take the time and make sure that each one is cut perfectly before I ship all over the world. And of course, free shipping anywhere in the continental United States. And since you're only about a 30 to 45 minute drive from where I am, you should be receiving this, if not next day, then in 2 days. Even with the Christmas holiday coming, it should not take long for you to receive this package. Okay, let's go ahead and take the lens out again. We will dry it off, and let's see if it fits. Again, I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner closest to me, then using my thumbs, I press down at the nose, and it does snap in easily. And let's go ahead and do the same thing for the left lens. I'm going to put it in place. I'm going to flip this over to L and hit the start button. Again, the door closes, that clamp shuts. But this time the two styluses, the white styluses, where's my flashlight, will come together, but it's going to trace the shape of the left side of the frame, measuring the thickness of the lens to know exactly where to place the bevel so it fits best inside the frame. And you have, because of the aspheric nature of this lens, you have no edge thickness sticking out of the frame. So you have a perfectly finished cosmetic quality here. Let's go ahead and remove this block. It is no longer needed. Draw your lens off while keeping that red dot there. And let's go down and measure to make sure this was cut perfectly. And let's actually darken that red dot so everyone can see it at home, because I'll need to measure that later on. But Again, your right eye reads minus 375, minus 1 1/4 at 4. I'm going to spin the axis wheel of my Marco 101 lensometer to 4. I should say and I'm going to put it in the viewfinder right above that red dot. My very dusty Marco 101 lensometer, and I'm reading minus 375. I'm going to check your astigmatism correction, and we end up, where are we at? We're at minus 5. The reason why that works is the unit of measurement we use in the optical field is called a diopter, spelled D-I-O-P-T-E-R, and goes in quarter increments, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1, and so on. You need 375 steps. So essentially, hang on, 3 is 12. You need 15 steps of correction for your farsightedness. You are very nearsighted. With your glasses off, you see up close very well, but you need these to see far away. So you need 15 steps of correction. Without your glasses on, everything is much larger in real life than it appears. So the reason why that's a minus, your lenses will minify. As you put your glasses on, everything will shrink down to the correct size. Now you need 15 steps of correction for that, but you need an additional 5 steps for your astigmatism. Now there is a stigma over the word astigmatism. Everyone freaks out when they hear that word. It just means shape, everybody. It is not a disease, it is not an affliction. Think of astigmatism as the fine-tune knob. Again, this first number makes everything the correct size. The second number is the fine-tune, so it takes away fuzzy edges. Without this correction for the astigmatism, that's why 6s and 8s or the letters P and F look alike. So you need an additional 5 steps. And if we're going to do the fine-tune knob, we're going to turn that knob, a straight line is from 0 to 180. We're going to turn that knob to 4. We're barely going to turn that knob. And the reason why we end up with a minus 5, remember high school algebra where you add the 2 like signs together? Well, let me put it in today's terms. If someone had borrowed $3.75 and then they borrowed another $1.25, they would owe you $5. So we have a total of 5 diopters. Now your right eye is a little bit better. You only need 12 steps of correction, but you need 7 steps for your astigmatism to take away those fuzzy edges. So we're going to end up with a final value on the lensometer of minus 4.75. Now the 174, we're going to turn that knob again from 0 to 180, with 90 being in the center. We're going to turn that knob to 174. These first 2 numbers are real values that we should be concerned with. These numbers could be anywhere from 0 to 180. And even though they look very far apart, 4 and 174, they're very close together because the number wheel goes to 180. So the 180 line, which is the horizontal meridian, the vertical is the 90. You're just 4 digits away from the 180. You're only 6 digits away from the 180 over here. But roughly that is very close to the same number. You've got a lot of debris in here on this one. But as she tells me, Tracy tells me that she wears her contacts most of the time. These glasses she's only going to wear from the bathroom sink to the nightstand. As soon as she hops in bed, she's going to take these off. But hopefully these are cute enough that you're going to leave the house wearing these. This is a cute little pair of Ralph Lauren's. Very petite size. And based on her small pupillary distance, she must be a petite woman. So this is going to be a cute little frame. Ralph Lauren makes some nice petite women's sizes, so does Kate Spade. Of course, I have access to anything from Ray-Ban, Polo, Gucci, Prada, Versace, Coach, and many more. Coach makes some nice petite sizes. So if there's women out there who everything they try on is too large, contact me, and I'll give you some examples of some nice petite frames that you can try. So again, it's just tracing exactly where best to place the bevel. You got some rough edges. That's some 5 o'clock shadow on that lens, isn't there? That's beyond 5 o'clock shadow. That just needs a shave. So now it's going to drop down on a wheel that has a little bit of a valley put in it, and that's when it's going to carve the V bevel into the lens so it is no longer flat. So the water has kicked in to wash away some of that debris, which means we're very close to the end of the cutting cycle, and all that's left is the safety bevel. Okay, where's that paper towel? There it is. Let's open the chuck, take the lens out, dry it off, inspect it, make sure there's no optical debris that's left over. A little bit of swarf there, I can scrape that off with my thumbnail. And I'm going to tuck it in at this outside corner, and using my thumbs I press down at the nose. It snaps in easily. You take this block off, dry your lens, again keeping that red dot on there. I'm going to come down here, spin the axis wheel back to 174, which is the axis for the left eye. I'm going to put it in over that red dot, and I am reading -3. I'm going to check the astigmatism correction, and we end up with -475. So that is cut perfectly. The last thing I want to do, your pupillary distance is 29 in both eyes for a combined value of 58. So I'm going to turn the card over. I'm going to place the 0 against my thumb on your right lens, and when we read it on the left lens, we're getting 58 millimeters. So that is cut perfectly. And of course, now's the time, as I clean the dots off your lenses, to mention to everyone that when you get these in the mail, there's a small chance that these will be too loose or too tight. However, there's an 80% chance that one of these sides is going to sit higher than the other. That's because 80% of people have one ear that's higher than the other. And that's why 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. But I'm going to get these in standard alignment first, also known as a 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set them on the counter and press down. There is no wobble. And when I say wobble, I'm part of that 80%. When I take my glasses off, they wobble on the counter, but they sit level on me. So I flip them over. There is no wobble. I make sure that each temple overlaps perfectly, and they do, in the same amount of tension on each spring hinge. So that's that. Tracy in Graham, North Carolina. I hope you enjoyed watching as I made your polo. Oh, I can't see this up close because I'm presbyopic. It is the Ralph Lauren 7040, the 51 eye size, in the color 1081. If anyone has any questions about what I can or can't do, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. And everyone else got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.